All right, let's go ahead and get started. We'll ease into our announcements and then go into our content. We may talk about forward-looking statements, roadmap items, so safe harbor statement here. Goals for today. So we're going to spend 5 minutes on an overview. We're going to spend a good amount of time on an exercise, a live demo actually, and then wrap it up with Q&A. And if you have any questions in the meantime, feel free to put it in the Q&A button on Zoom and or chat, although I'm highly recommend Q&A chat, mostly for comments or clarifications. And today we're going to cover Now Assistant Virtual Agent conversational catalog ordering. So Now Assistant Virtual Agent is the new generative AI powered virtual agent, and one of the ways that we use generative AI in the virtual agent today is for conversational catalog ordering. Now, for those of you who don't have Now Assist yet, or who haven't installed that yet, you may be wondering, oh, what's in it for me? Well, some of the concepts that we're going to talk about today also apply to the existing NLU powered virtual agent, because we also have conversational catalog ordering in the existing virtual agent. It'll have the similar capabilities as well as limitations, so you'll be able to use this, in your existing virtual agent as well. Of course, the existing virtual agent uses NLU instead of large language models, but you'll have a similar experience, and that's why I wanted to cover that with you today. So a brief overview of Now Assistant Virtual Agent. Now Assist, again, uses generative AI, our own LLM called Now LLM, and it provides natural language Q&A with knowledge articles. So rather than a list of search results or Genius results, those Genius results have now been changed to provide you actual, relevant, contextual, and answer to your question, as opposed to just like a search result, right? It has service catalog ordering through conversation. That's what we're going to go over today. That's what we're going to show today. And we do provide user-friendly guided setup and analytics. So really, again, I'm going to show this to you as well. But, we've created a net new setup experience, step-by-step, low code, no need to tune an NLU workbench or anything like that. So I'll show you that in a moment as well. So a deep dive into catalog ordering guidance limitations. So like I mentioned, the conversational catalog ordering and Now Assist has the same limitations as NLU Virtual Agent today. So maybe to back up a bit, I'll go back to this screenshot here, and you see on the right-hand side, you have the ability to, for example, if you have a catalog item on creating a new email account, right? You can say, oh, I want, request a new email. And rather than sending you a link to a catalog, or rather than sending you a form, you can actually answer questions in line, right? You can say, oh, okay, what's the email address? You type it in, do you want to replace your current one? Yes or no, right? And that basically is the same thing as your catalog request. You can even, do slot fill, which is basically fill in fields within your question, and I'll show you that in the exercise so that they don't have to ask you the question. So if you say, hey, I want a green iPhone that's 32 megabytes or 32 gigabytes, I don't have to ask you the color question anymore, or the iPhone or the gigabyte size question anymore. I can skip all that and go straight to any question that need to be answered. Or if you're done, then you just one shot request your catalog item. It is that good. Okay. So that's the power of conversational catalog ordering versus sending you a link to a service portal. Okay. So with that said, going back to here, there are limitations as of today, although some of these will be, changed, and I'll talk about that in moving forward. But it doesn't support dependent questions or scripted UI policies. Okay. It also doesn't support custom variables, checkbox variables, or multi-row variable sets, MRVS. You might know them by. It doesn't support client scripts, and it doesn't support ARQs or advanced reference qualifiers. So if your catalog item has any of these things, then you're not going to get the conversational experience. You're just going to get a link to a catalog, to a service catalog page. Okay. So hence unsupported items, will you order them through a pop-up window? So how do you tell if a catalog item is conversational? Well, we actually have with each catalog item, we actually tell you the render type. So if you navigate to the iPhone catalog item, for example, you can just click on a related link, show render type, and it'll tell you, okay, this is pop-up or conversational. If you want the full list of catalogs, right, and whether or not they're conversational or not, there's a table. It's right there, catalog underscore item underscore analytics. Okay, and I'll show that to you in the exercise. So some requirements for a Now Assistant Virtual Agent to use a conversational catalog ordering. Obviously, you need a service catalog, right? And I hope you all do, or you all have something like that in some respects. And then you do need the Now Assist SKU for Now Assistant VA. You need at least Vancouver Patch 4 or Washington. If you're one of the go-getters and you're using Washington early availability, you can use that today. Okay. So I know there's a lot of like, oh, will it work? Will it not work? Right. But when it does work, it's magical. It works, pretty well. And I'll show you that example. So looking forward, so there was that table I told you about, right? Um, about what showing whether catalogs are conversational or not. And we recognize that it is still, a lot of our customers of may have issues with that because yes, they have a very long-standing service catalog with a lot of custom things in it, right? Is it supported or not? Well, available in the Washington release and Vancouver patch 7, which is again available at the same time as Washington general availability, which is next month. We'll actually give you a dashboard saying, hey, these are your number of items that are conversational or not. If it's not conversational, these are the reasons why, etc. And then we're going to add more support to conversational catalog items. For example, we will add checkbox as a supported variable type, and we will support more client script and UI policies. Okay, so if you're looking at your service catalog and you see, oh man, we have a lot of scripted catalog items with client scripts on them or UI policies on them, and that doesn't make them conversational. Well, that will be addressed in next month's release, so you can stay tuned for that. With that, I'm going to jump into the exercise. Before I do, I'm going to check to make sure. I'm going to check the Q&A very quickly. So the first thing to note is that Now Assist plugins are not available in PDI, so you cannot test them with PDIs. Okay, I believe I've addressed some of these other ones before. Let's see. For fields with reference to tables, how does it work? Say a field that reference to the Windows Server table. So reference fields. So here's the thing. Pros and cons with reference fields. Reference fields are conversational. In other words, if you have a reference field on your catalog items, your catalog item is conversational, but it doesn't, to my knowledge, your mileage may vary. To my knowledge, it doesn't pick up the choice option, right? So if you have a reference table of a bunch of names and you want to say, hey, I want to order a iPhone for David, right? You still need to find and select that name. It won't pick up, oh, you mean David, because there may be so many Davids, right? Or maybe David Lee, I don't know, right? In my experience, Now Assist in Virtual Agent may not be able to find the right Davids. You may need to select it. Or you may get lucky. I don't know, right? But certainly reference fields are conversational. They just may not land when you try to do slot fill. If you have any problems with any of my acronyms, just tell me which ones are tripping you up, and I will spell them out. I think the only ones I've mentioned so far that you may or may not be aware of are MRVS, which is multi-row variable sets, which is a variable type, right? As well as large, LLMs or large language models. So those are probably the two acronyms that I would, be mentioning. All right, so let's go into our exercise. With that, I'm going to pause screen share. I can switch screen to my browser. So I am in a Vancouver Patch 4 release. Okay. And the first thing I'm going to show you is how to set up this Now Assistant virtual agent. And the first thing I'm going to do is go to the Now Assist admin console page, which is this. Okay. I have home features settings. This is a feature. So I'm going to click into here. And then virtual agent is a platform feature. So I'm going to click platform once that loads. And there's virtual agent. Click to view details. You notice I've already enabled the virtual agent skills, multi-turn catalog ordering. This should be on by default, but if not, you can always just click here to activate it, or in this case, deactivate it, but there. And then Q&A Teams results also should be active. There we go. And then if I want to start setting it up, there's a link right there, set up Now Assist and virtual agent. So I can click that. And it jumps to the end because I've set it up already, but I'll go through them all step by step. Again, here are the skills, information sources. So this determines which catalog items are going to be made conversational, right? This is configured by default. I don't have to touch this. If I want to see it, I can. But again, I don't need to touch this. This is done for me already. And then there's branding, right? You can set up your greeting message, your closing message, your branding profile, right? We've gone over that in the past. Display location. Now, this goes back to actually David's question. Maybe now is a good time to address it. Note that you can only have one virtual agent on at a time per portal. Okay, so notice I use a random portal, customer support portal, for my Now Assistant virtual agent so that I don't override the portal that so I don't override the virtual agent that I have configured in Employee Center or Service Portal, okay? So they can coexist in the same instance, just not the same portal. All right. And for more guidance on like, hey, when's a good, should I use Now Assist now, or should I pause and evaluate? I do have a community article about that, so just you can find that in the forum, or I can link it to you at the end of the academy if I have time. Okay. And then once I figure that out, I go to review. I can test it. My skills are turned on. Everything is just here for me to review. And I can click the turn on button, or here it's just a turn off button. Okay. All right. So next, let's see what I want to show you. Okay, so now I'm going to show you what I was talking about in terms of VA render type. Okay, so if you go to your catalog, which is SC cat item, which you probably know that already. These are all your catalog items, right? And if I go to a catalog item like this one here, this is travel request. This is the one I created. This is basically a catalog item that I'll demo later, but basically it's request travel, right? I gotta fly somewhere. I gotta tell my manager, hey, I want to request the ability to travel and to buy a flight. Can I do that, right? So that's what this does, and it's a very straightforward catalog. Nothing complex. No UI policies. No scripts. That's what makes it conversational. But you see, in related links, I have a link here, show via render type. And this tells me it's conversational. That's good, conversation. If I were to go to another catalog item, I don't know, maybe something like request corporate credit card. This is probably more complicated. So there's some script in here, UI policies, right? Catalog client scripts. So if I were to click show AVA render type here, yeah, it's going to be a pop-up because we don't support those some of those items. All right. So that's how you can tell per item. Obviously, this may be tiresome if you want to check every item. So if you want to check every item, you just go to that table I told you about, right? Catalog underscore item underscore analytics. And this shows you every catalog item and whether or not it'll pop up, whether it'll appear in a window or whether it's conversational. So I could, either show matching and filter out. In this case, show matching. And I can see in my instance, I have about 20, or so, 27 conversational items. And then I assume the other 70 or so is, not conversational. Okay. Again, in the next Vancouver patch release or in the Washington release, we'll actually show you more visualization dashboards to show this data. But for now, you have this table to use. All right, so with that, let's go ahead and try this out. So I'm going to close my setup page. I'm going to go to that customer support instance I told you about, CSM. That's my customer support catalog item. And I'm going to open virtual agent down here. So I don't know if I mentioned when I showed you the catalog item, but some of the questions I have asked in my catalog is basically, where are you traveling from, where are you going, your departure date, arrival date, right? And what kind of business class or class flight do you want, right? So I could just say, I want to request a flight. That will work. But I could even be more detailed and I'll actually skip questions and because it captures it and ask you only and skip to only the question it doesn't know about, right? So I can say, I want to request a flight, which that alone would get me to my item. But I want to request a flight to Los Angeles next Monday, right? Someone might type that. They might type a more detailed query. I don't know about this new message. And there it goes. There's my catalog item. And would you like to get started? Yes, I do. Now, I gave it some information, but I didn't give it all the information. It's probably going to ask me some things like, hey, where you're coming from, et cetera. So yeah, would you like to depart your travel? Let's say, San Francisco. Or when does your travel end? Let's say March 1st. And I type my month and day just like, regularly. And economy. So you notice no pop-ups, no forms. It's just all conversational. And here it tells you, oh, where do you want to travel from? SF. Where do you want to travel to? LA. How does it know that? Because I typed in my question, provide a start date. It's next Monday, 2/26. Someone feel free to check me whether or not that is a Monday. I think it is. And then travel end date, it knows it's 03/01/2024, even though I typed in March 1st. And then it knows economy. Let's say I want to make changes. Let's say I want the premium business class. I want the most. I want the most expensive class, right? I'm not even being exact or specific, right? It'll know, oh, you want business or first class. That's the power of Now Assist. That's the power of a large language model intuiting what you want, what are the details of what you want, and even if you're not exact, even if you're not specific, you don't need to land on a specific NLU term or vocabulary anymore. It knows, okay, expensive class, you want business or first. Okay. So I'll submit. And do I know any attachments? No, I don't. I don't have any attachments to give. And there's my request. All right. So that's Vancouver. That's conversational catalog ordering, what it looks like. Let's see. I could see if I could preview Washington for you. So that slide I showed you, I shared with you earlier about what's coming soon. Let's see if I can demo that for you early. Again, safe harbor. In the meantime, Phil, some questions. I see some questions already. Keep asking them because after this, we're gonna do pure Q&A mode. Let's see. Well, that's loading. So yeah, David, I hope I addressed your question earlier. I'll try to find that community article right after this exercise. Sergey asks, "Hello, our company is serving a business partner. I requested a license for Now Assist Create a plugin, but I didn't get answer for a couple of weeks. How do we install this plugin for our dev instance?" Yeah, talk to your either account executive or talk to your solutions because your ServiceNow solutions consultant, right? They should have the ability to create an instance for you, an evaluation instance for you with that plugin. If you requested it, you requested a license. I'm not sure if you a license for the plugin. That I don't know much about. But if you requested a plugin for an evaluation instance, you should have gotten that instance with the plugin installed. So I don't know if the process is the same for you, but requesting a license, I'm not so sure about because that's license related, and I'm not a subscription expert there, unfortunately. Okay, so this is a Washington release, and if I were to go to Now Assist again, go to Features, go to Platform, Virtual Agent. I'll skip all the way down to, or let me do Setup. Sorry. So everything's the same here, but at the very end, under Review, the place where I turn on or off the virtual agent once this loads. Loading, there we go. There I have a catalog builder. And if I open that, it actually tells me in my Washington instance, these are the items I have: non-conversational, conversational. Why it's non-conversational? Most of it's because it's an unsupported question type, right? And then here's a richer table that tells me, excuse me, the items that are non-conversational, conversational, etc. I think if I click here, I can filter this or sort this. And I have some that are conversational, some that are not, etc. Right? So yeah, this is coming in Washington, and this tells you, what's conversational or not. Whether or not you're in Now Assist and Virtual Agent or existing Virtual Agent, both of them have the ability to do conversational catalog requests. Although the Now Assist for Virtual Agent catalog ordering is more accurate, as you've seen, and more richer in its ability to intuit what you want. And then for those of you building virtual agents overall, it kind of gives you, shows the point or proves the point as to why it's important to have a good catalog, service catalog, right? You don't need to create topics to request catalog items. All you need is conversational catalog, which is out of box or available automatically to you. The same thing for knowledge items, and I see a question for that, right? It's important to have a good service catalog and a good knowledge or a knowledge base that's up to date, relevant, so that Now Assist and Virtual Agent can use that service catalog, can use that knowledge base to serve your employees. You don't need to create a topic to order an iPhone or a topic to troubleshoot Microsoft Teams, right? If that's in your knowledge base, if that's in your service catalog, the virtual agent can surface that information to your employees automatically without you creating a topic. So that's the point of having that information in your ServiceNow instance. Okay. So that's the end of my prepared remarks. I hope you got a lot out of that. Again, if you have an evaluation instance or if you have Now Assist in Virtual Agent, feel free to try it out. If you have existing Virtual Agent, we also have Conversational Catalog in there. It may not do everything I just showed you, but it's there. So with that, I'm going to address questions. So I'll go to Stefan's question. I hope I pronounced that correct. Is there anything in the structure of our KB articles we need to take into account when using virtual agent for it to work well? No, it needs to be written in full, complete sentences, obviously. Make sure it's relevant, make sure it's detailed, it's up to date. Please don't have an article out there that talks about how to use, I don't know, Windows 98 or something, right? Like that's not going to be helpful for anybody. So you want to make sure it's up to date. If you have an annual HR process. You want to make sure every year you make sure those knowledge-based articles are up to date, et cetera. So that's the best advice I can give. And the most problems I've seen with customers is that their knowledge base is either non-existent or it's just a link to another thing, web page or whatever, or it's giving you outdated information because the knowledge base is outdated. Those are the top three issues I see. Can you click on the link to see the exact request item? I think that's referring to that table I just showed you. Yes, I'm pretty sure you can. Let me see. I could go back to my instance here. If you're talking about here, I can click into this, and yeah, it opens my catalog item. Yeah, it's conversational and edit in advanced view. I can go there if I wanted to, probably. So, yeah, you can. Next question here. If now SIS doesn't understand correctly the customer, is there any way to tune this model? So there's no way to tune the large language model. We do that tuning for you. Okay. Of course, you have the ability to give feedback. So let's say I typed in, I want to request a flight, and it gave me something completely different. You have the ability to give thumbs up, thumbs down, and that feedback goes back to our engineers to say, hey, is this model working? And if so, what's wrong with it? But it's actually a good thing. You do not need to use a workbench to tune an NLU model with vocab sources or synonyms or anything or entities, right? You don't need to set up entity slot fill on the designer topic anymore. All that is taken care of in respects using the large language model. Does Now Assist require Azure OpenAI connector? No, it doesn't. So what I just showed you, this Now Assist and Virtual Agent, it does not require an OpenAI or an Azure OpenAI connection or subscription. It's all you need is Now Assist, and we provide for you Now LLM. In the background, we may provide you some Azure AI capabilities. You don't need to worry about that. It's part of your subscription. Is Now Assist part of GCC setup? So GCC is not supported yet for Now Assist, but it will be in the future, later this year. Not related to this topic, what application integrate with Live Agent? Any integration we have today is available for Live Agent. Teams, Slack, SMS, Twilio. So they're all supported. Not WebEx. I think you mentioned that in an example. We don't have an out-of-box integration for WebEx. If Cisco wants to help, if Cisco wants to collab with that, our door is always open. Anonymous attendee, is there any general guidance for understanding the pros and cons? Yes, so let me go to that now while I have you all. So if I go to the virtual agent community site, if you go to, I think we'll wrap up here. Let's see if it's, or if I can search. Otherwise, I'll just search catalog item. No. Yeah, here. I have this article here, how to request catalog items. This is like the long form article on how to, I'll paste this in chat. And I see there's a lot of comments here. Apologies if I don't have a chance to read all this. This is a long form article of what's supported and not supported for conversational catalog ordering, some of the things I talked about here, right? And I also have a link here into what's new, what's coming in Virtual Agent, which is this article here, right? I talk about what's new, etc. And then finally, yeah, I have an article here, when to consider using Now Assist and Virtual Agent. So I'll paste this link in chat. Sorry for all the link pasting here. I'll paste this to everyone, and I'll paste this link to everyone. When to consider using Now Assist and Virtual Agent, right? You can consider it if some of these things apply to you, or you can pause and evaluate wait until February or next month if these things apply to you, right? So yeah, hopefully take a look at those article links. Hope those are helpful to you. I know we're over time. I'll try to go through the rest of the questions, but if you need to drop, I completely understand. Again, this is recorded, okay? So feel free to catch the recording afterwards if you want to catch the questions. So I'm just going to keep going here. Are there any current or future cases of CMDB CI improvement? I'm not a CMDB expert, unfortunately, so I can't address that. How to prevent Now Assist from accidentally disclosing PII information. Now Assist, we actually have an internal moderation system, which does a decent job filtering some of that out, as well as if you want, there's also a sensitive data handling tool that's connected with the generative AI controller. So if you want to, it's available in documentations. You can just search for sensitive data handling. I'll tell you how to use that with the controller. Seems Dehu, no, the request is created through chat. That you're not able to, like the user isn't able to edit, view the advanced view of the catalog item. That's probably done on purpose here. Is there a way or need to train Now Assist? No, there is not. That large language model that powers Now Assist is all tuned internally. You don't need to touch it. Is there any pricing calculator for ServiceNow Now Assist? So yeah, there is a. If let's see if I can go into here in the Now Assist admin console. So there's two places. In the Now Assist admin consoles, there is a place to show your usage, right? But then in your subscription management page, there's also a Now Assist page there. You can show actually, I think, the dollars and cents, etc. I don't know where to go exactly. I'm not a subscription management expert, but I do know that that's there. And yes, they do have a page for Now Assist. So there is that. Is there a minimum number of information or words that are required? No, not really. You probably have, as long as you have a couple questions, right? Yeah, not really. You should have a detailed enough or specific enough catalog item name. And it would probably be helpful to have a good catalog item description. Not only is that just good practice, but yes, that would be helpful not only for Now Assist and VA to pick it up, but also any existing virtual agent to pick it up as well. So that would be my recommendation. Can you use jargon, mistyped words, shorten your answers? Yeah, usually. I think I've done that before. Yeah. Yeah, it's again, large language model. It's pretty good at catching up strange syntax, etc. Will an NLU feature be replaced with Now Assist in the future for virtual agent? I wouldn't say replaced, right? We're not going to force people to use Now Assist because we understand, licensing wise, it is additive on top of Pro or Enterprise. But I will say this, Vijay, that our investments are going to lean more into Now Assist. At some point, the NLU virtual agent will just be there, and we'll fix critical bugs for it maybe, but we're not going to add new features or we're not going to add new enhancements to it. All our investments currently are towards Now Assist and virtual agents. So we do recommend you eventually consider that and migrate to that. If you want to continue using NLU, that's completely fine, but we're just not going to add anything new to it moving forward, at least that I can see. Can you run one agent from the current version and use Now Assist for a new agent and for a different portal? Yes, although I don't know what you mean by agent, like a live agent, and use for a new agent for a different portal. I'm going to assume by agent you mean virtual agent, in which case you can run NLU VA in one portal like Service Portal, and you can run Now Assist in another portal like, and I used an example, Customer Service Portal here. And then last question, Eric asks, is there a way to measure how the Now Assist is performing? Yes, that's a good question. We do have an analytics page in the, oh shoot, where is it? View performance right here. So this is the Now Assist setup page here. And in their review, last step, you can view performance. Now, it's not, I wouldn't say as thorough, and it's certainly not as thorough as our existing conversational analytics page, but it is getting further enhancements later this year. So it is here, but it's going to get better. I promise you that. Okay, so with that, I'm going to wrap the virtual, it's no longer the Virtual Agent Academy, excuse me, it's the AI Academy. And with that, everyone, thank you for your time. For those of you who stayed longer, thank you, thank you. And, we will see you in another 2 weeks for another AI Academy. Thank you, everyone.